Did you know that some of the most iconic Christian music artists and leaders have openly embraced their LGBTQ identities despite facing intense backlash? From Jennifer Knapp, the groundbreaking Christian rock artist who shocked the community by coming out, to Mel White, the ghostwriter for famous televangelists who took a bold stand for LGBTQ inclusion, these stories will leave you speechless. Here are the 25 Christian celebrities you didn't know were gay. 1. Jennifer Knapp. Jennifer Knapp is a talented singer-songwriter known for her unique blend of folk rock and contemporary Christian music. She was born on April 12, 1974, in Chanute, Kansas, and initially studied classical trumpet before switching to guitar and vocals. Jennifer's career took off with her debut album Kansas in 1998, which became a hit, earning gold certification. The album featured the popular song Undo Me. However, in 2003, she decided to take a break from her music career and moved to Australia, where she eventually became a citizen. In 2010, Jennifer made a strong comeback with the album Letting Go. That same year, she shared a personal part of her life by publicly coming out as gay. This was a big moment because it made her one of the first well-known Christian music artists to do so. Jennifer's decision to be open about her identity inspired many, and she became an advocate for LGBTQ individuals, especially within religious communities. In 2014, she released her memoir Facing the Music, where she talked about her journey of faith and finding herself. She also started an organization called Inside Out Faith to support LGBTQ people in faith communities. Jennifer Knapp continues to make music and inspire others with her courage and honesty. 2. Trey Pearson. Trey Pearson is an American singer-songwriter best known as the lead vocalist of the Christian rock band Everyday Sunday. Born on September 10, 1980 in Columbus, Ohio, Trey formed the band in 1997, and they quickly gained popularity in the Christian rock scene. The band's energetic sound and relatable lyrics earned them many fans, and they scored multiple #1 hits in the US, including Wake Up, and Best Night of Our Lives. These songs even made it to the Billboard 200 chart, which was a big deal. In 2016, Trey made headlines when he came out as gay in an open letter to his fans. This was a major moment because Trey was one of the most popular Christian rock artists at the time. Although his decision received mixed reactions, many people supported him for being true to himself. After coming out, Trey started his solo music career, releasing his first solo EP called Love is Love in 2017. His music now focuses more on his personal journey and the importance of love and acceptance. Vicky Beeching. Vicky Beeching is a British musician, writer and advocate for LGBTQ equality. Born on July 17, 1979 in Canterbury, England, Vicky started playing music and writing songs as a teenager. She attended the University of Oxford, where she studied theology and earned both a bachelor's and a master's degree. In her early 20s, she moved to the United States to pursue her music career. In 2014, Vicky publicly came out as lesbian. This was a turning point in her life because being openly gay in the Christian music community was seen as controversial. However, Vicky's decision was driven by her desire to live openly and honestly. She shifted her focus from music to advocacy, becoming a strong voice for LGBTQ inclusion in religious spaces. Vicky also wrote a memoir called Undivided in 2018, where she shared her journey of faith, identity, and acceptance. Besides writing, Vicky appears on UK media channels like BBC and Sky News to discuss topics like ethics and inclusion. She also writes articles for well-known publications, including The Guardian. Ray Boltz. Ray Boltz is a well-known American singer-songwriter who made a big impact in contemporary Christian music. He was born on June 14, 1953, in Muncie, Indiana. Growing up, Ray was surrounded by music and family, raised by his parents William and Ruth Boltz. After finishing his education at Ball State University with a degree in business and marketing, Ray initially worked in manufacturing while performing music on the side. In 1986, he decided to follow his passion full-time and released his debut album, Watch the Lamb. One of Ray's most famous songs, Thank You, won the Song of the Year award at the 1990 GMA Dove Awards. His other popular song, I Pledge Allegiance to the Lamb, won the Inspirational Recorded Song of the Year in 1994. He released many more albums over the years, like Seasons Change, Allegiance, and The Concert of a Lifetime, which even got RIAA Gold certification. In 2008, Ray came out as gay in an interview with the Washington Blade. After being married to Carol Boltz for 33 years and having 4 children, this was a big change in his life. Ray moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida after the divorce, where he now lives with his partner, Franco Sperduti, who is also his talent agent. In 2010, Ray released an album called True, which won Album of the Year at the Out Music Awards. 5. Marcia Stevens Pino. Marcia Stevens Pino is an American singer-songwriter, often called the mother of contemporary Christian music. She was born on August 20th, 1952, in Pomona, California. Marcia became a Christian at 16 and soon after wrote one of her most famous songs, For Those Tears I Died. This song became really popular in churches and youth groups across the United States. Marcia co-founded the Jesus music group called Children of the Day, and they released several albums in the mid-70s, like Come to the Waters and With All Our Love. Marcia's music was loved by many, but her life took a big turn in 1981, when she publicly came out as a lesbian. This was a bold move, especially considering how important her faith was to her. After coming out, she faced a lot of backlash from the Christian community, and some churches even removed her songs from their hymnals. Despite the challenges, Marcia stayed true to herself and her faith. In the mid-1980s, she started Balm Ministries, born-again lesbian music, to create inclusive Christian music. She released many solo albums, like Songs of Praise in a Strange Land and I Will Not Behave Like Prey. Marcia also mentors young LGBTQ Christian artists through a program called YouDidn't. 6. Azariah Southworth. Azariah Southworth is an American writer and former TV host who became popular for hosting The Remix, a reality show that aired on Christian networks like NRB, TBN, JCTV, and VTN. The show featured well-known Christian musicians like Jars of Clay and Rachel Lamper. It gave viewers a behind-the-scenes look at their lives and had over 200,000 weekly viewers. Azariah's engaging style made him a recognized face in Christian media. In April 2008, Azariah publicly came out as gay. He shared that it was a difficult decision but felt it was important to live authentically. He said that being true to himself brought him peace, even though he knew it might affect his career in Christian television. Despite the potential risks, Azariah's honesty earned respect from many people. After coming out, Azariah became more involved in LGBTQ advocacy. That same year, he was named one of Instinct magazine's leading men of 2008. He also joined the Soulforce Q 2008 Equality Ride, which aimed to raise awareness of LGBTQ rights. In 2020, Azariah co-launched a podcast called Yes, Jesus, with actor Daniel Franzese. The podcast mixes humor with important conversations, focusing on making LGBTQ individuals feel welcomed in faith communities. If you thought Azariah's story was surprising, just wait. Up next, we have a famous ghostwriter who changed his life completely, and a gospel singer who shocked his whole country, Mel White. Mel White is an American clergyman, author, and activist who has made a big difference for LGBTQ people in religious communities. He was born on June 26, 1940, in Santa Clara, California. Mel studied communications and film at several schools, including the University of Southern California, UCLA, and Harvard. He also got a doctorate of ministry and taught at Fuller Theological Seminary for more than 10 years. In the 1960s through the 1980s, Mel was really involved in the evangelical Protestant community. He was known for ghostwriting autobiographies and making films for famous televangelists like Jerry Falwell, Pat Robertson, and Billy Graham. Even though he was successful, Mel struggled with his identity for a long time. He tried different ways to change his feelings, including therapy and prayer, but nothing worked. After a difficult journey, including a suicide attempt and divorce, Mel finally came out as gay in 1994. After coming out, Mel focused on advocating for LGBTQ inclusion in faith communities. He wrote a book called Stranger at the Gate, To Be Gay and Christian in America, 1994, sharing his story of finding peace between his faith and his identity. In 1998, he co-founded an organization called Soulforce, which fights against religious-based discrimination in a peaceful way. 8. Albert Nabonibo. Albert Nabonibo is a Rwandan gospel singer and accountant who became widely known after coming out as gay. He was born in 1983 or 1984 and grew up in Gikumbi, a suburb of Kigali, Rwanda. From a young age, Albert loved music and found his passion for singing in the Pentecostal church. He started his journey as a gospel artist and built a local reputation for his inspiring songs. In August 2019, Albert publicly came out as gay during an interview with a Christian YouTube channel. This was a big moment because LGBTQ topics are still considered taboo in Rwanda. After sharing his truth, Albert faced a lot of challenges, including being rejected by some friends, family members, and people in his community. Despite the backlash, he stayed strong and said, "I have to live my real life." Besides his music career, Albert is also a skilled finance and accounting professional with over 10 years of experience. He uses his platform to speak up for human rights and LGBTQ acceptance in Rwandan society. Even though his journey has been tough, Albert remains committed to staying true to himself while still being active in the gospel music scene. Reverend Richard Coles. Reverend Richard Coles is a British priest, musician, writer, and broadcaster known for his unique journey from pop music to the church. He was born on March 26, 1962, in Northampton, England. Richard first gained fame in the 1980s as a member of the band The Communards, alongside Jimmy Somerville. Their hit song Don't Leave Me This Way became the best-selling single of 1986 in the UK. After his music career, Richard decided to study theology and became a Church of England priest in 2005. He served at several churches, including St. Botolph's Church and St. Mary's Church in Findon, where he was the vicar until his retirement in 2022. Richard is also openly gay and has been an advocate for LGBTQ inclusion within the church. In 2010, he entered into a civil partnership with Reverend David Coles, who sadly passed away in 2019. In June 2023, Richard shared that he had found love again with actor Richard Kant. Apart from his religious duties, Richard is also a popular broadcaster. He co-hosted BBC Radio 4's Saturday Live for over a decade and appeared on TV shows like QI and Would I Lie to You? His memoir, Fathomless Riches, or How I Went from Pop to Pulpit, 2014, tells the story of his transformation from a pop star to a priest. 10. Mike White. Mike White is an American filmmaker, actor, and producer, known for his unique storytelling style. He was born on June 28, 1970, in Pasadena, California. His dad is Mel White, a writer who became an activist after coming out as gay in 1994. This had a big impact on Mike's perspective and the stories he creates. Mike went to Wesleyan University, where he met his writing partner, Zach Penn. After graduating, he moved to Los Angeles to chase his dreams in the entertainment world. Mike first got noticed for writing and acting in the 2000 movie Chuck and Buck, which earned him an Independent Spirit Award. He also wrote The Good Girl, starring Jennifer Aniston, which showed his talent for creating deep and relatable characters. But his big break came in 2003, when he wrote and co-produced School of Rock with Jack Black. The movie was a hit and made Mike even more popular in Hollywood. Mike also explored serious themes in his HBO series Enlightened, where he focused on personal growth and the struggles of modern life. More recently, he created, wrote, and directed The White Lotus, an HBO series that cleverly mixes drama with social commentary. The show has won several awards and is praised for its sharp take on privilege and human behavior. The next stories are even more unexpected. From a groundbreaking bishop who faced backlash to a historian who spoke out against the church, these stories will surprise you. 11. Diarmaid MacCulloch. Diarmaid MacCulloch is a British historian known for his deep knowledge of church history and Christianity. He was born on October 31, 1951, in Kent, England. Growing up in a religious family, Diarmaid always felt connected to history and faith. He studied at Churchill College, Cambridge, where he earned his degree in history. Later, he completed his PhD with a focus on Tudor history, guided by a famous historian, Geoffrey Elton. Diarmaid became a well-respected professor and taught at the University of Oxford. His books are known for being super detailed and well-researched. One of his best-known works is Thomas Cranmer, A Life, which won a big award. Another famous book, The Reformation, A History, received high praise and a National Book Critics Circle Award. His most significant work, A History of Christianity, the first 3,000 years, even became a BBC series and won the Cundell Prize in History. Although Diarmaid was ordained as a deacon in the Church of England, he didn't become a priest because the church's stance on LGBTQ issues didn't align with his beliefs. Diarmaid, who is openly gay, has been vocal about his feelings, saying he felt hurt by the church's position. Despite this, he kept working to educate people about church history and the role of faith in society. 13. Brian Neitzel. Brian Neitzel is an openly gay Christian who works hard to build a connection between the LGBTQ+ community and Christian faith communities. After coming out more than a decade ago, Brian focused on finding a way to balance his sexuality with his strong Christian beliefs. He understands how tough it can be for LGBTQ+ people to feel accepted in religious spaces, so he decided to take action. To make a difference, Brian founded an initiative called Making Things Right. The main goal is to change how Christians respond to LGBTQ+ individuals. He believes that both sides can come together through healing, understanding, and honest conversations. Brian shares resources through this initiative, including a white paper called Examining the Christian Response and Responsibility to LGBTQ+ People. He also runs a podcast series where he talks about how to make faith spaces more welcoming. Brian organizes events that encourage open conversations between Christians and LGBTQ+ people. He focuses on empathy, finding common ground, and working together to fix past hurts. 14. Reverend Paul Anthony Daniels. Reverend Paul Anthony Daniels is an openly gay Episcopal priest who's passionate about creating an inclusive space for everyone within the church. He currently serves as the rector of St. Mary in Palms Episcopal Church in Los Angeles, where he started working in September 22. Before this role, he served in several parishes across the United States and even in South Africa. His experience makes him a respected leader within the community. Reverend Daniels has a solid academic background too. He earned his Bachelor of Arts from Morehouse College and a Master of Divinity from Yale Divinity School. Right now, he's working on his PhD in systematic theology at Fordham University. His studies focus on important topics like liberation theologies, mysticism, Black studies, and queer studies. Besides being a priest, Reverend Daniels is also the Dean of Bloy House, an Episcopal theological school in Los Angeles. He believes in lifting up the priesthood of all believers and encourages people to take bold actions that reflect their faith. In an interview with Wired, he talked about being a gay priest and shared how he believes God is present in all parts of human life, including love and desire. He wants the church to think differently about relationships and love, pushing for a more open and understanding approach. 15. Reverend Jennifer S. Leith. Reverend Jennifer S. Leith is a pastor in the African Methodist Episcopal (AME) Church who is making a big difference when it comes to LGBTQ+ inclusion. She's passionate about creating a church environment where everyone feels welcome, no matter their sexual orientation. Reverend Leith strongly believes that faith should be about love, justice, and equality. One of the important things she advocates for is the acceptance of same-sex marriage within the AME Church. She knows that changing minds and traditions can be hard, but she's determined to keep the conversation going. Reverend Leith encourages church communities to think more deeply about what love really means and how to live out Christian teachings without excluding anyone. Her work has caught the attention of various media platforms, including AP News. People admire her commitment to making the church a safer and more inclusive space. She believes that everyone should be able to experience the fullness of their faith without feeling judged or left out. 16. Luke Evans. Luke Evans is a talented Welsh actor and singer who's made a big name for himself in Hollywood. He was born on April 15, 1979, in Pontypool, Wales, and grew up in a small town called Aberbargod. His parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so he grew up in a very religious environment. When he was just 13, Luke faced a tough time trying to figure out his sexuality while staying true to his faith. He was even the youngest in his congregation to get baptized. But by the age of 16, Luke decided to leave the Jehovah's Witness community to be true to himself, which was really challenging. At 17, Luke moved to Cardiff to study singing and later earned a scholarship to the London Studio Centre. He graduated in 2000 and started performing in West End shows like Rent, Miss Saigon, and Piaf. His performance in Small Change at the Donmar Warehouse in 2008 got a lot of praise and led him to film roles. Luke made his movie debut in 2010 as Apollo in Clash of the Titans. He went on to play some pretty cool roles like Bard the Bowman in the Hobbit trilogy and Dracula in Dracula Untold, 2014. One of his most famous roles was as Gaston in Disney's Beauty and the Beast, 2017. Besides acting, Luke also released his first album, At Last, in 2019, showing off his singing skills. Gene Robinson. Gene Robinson is an American Episcopal bishop known for being the first openly gay bishop in the Episcopal Church. He was born on May 29, 1947, in Lexington, Kentucky, and grew up in a Christian family that was really involved in church life. Gene studied at the University of the South and later earned his Master of Divinity from the General Theological Seminary in New York City. Gene was ordained as a priest in 1973 and worked in different roles within the Diocese of New Hampshire. He was married to Isabella Boo McDaniel, and they had 2 daughters. In 1986, Gene came to terms with his sexuality, and the couple divorced but stayed on good terms. Later, Gene met Mark Andrew, and they became partners. They had a civil ceremony in 2008, making their relationship official. In 2003, Jean made history by becoming the Bishop of New Hampshire, the first openly gay bishop in the Episcopal Church. His election caused a lot of debates within the church and even led to divisions in the Anglican Communion. Some people didn't support his appointment, and Jean even received threats. But he didn't back down and kept working for inclusion and human rights. 18. Jeffrey John. Jeffrey John is an English Anglican priest known for standing up for LGBTQ+ inclusion in the Church of England. He was born on February 10, 1953, and studied theology at Oxford University. Jeffrey worked as a Dean of Divinity at Magdalen College and served in various pastoral roles, including being the Vicar of Eltham in London and Canon Theologian at Southwark Cathedral. In 2003, Jeffrey was nominated to become the Bishop of Reading, which would have made him the first openly gay bishop in the Church of England. But his nomination faced backlash, and he eventually withdrew to avoid controversy. Despite this, he kept working in the church and never gave up on advocating for equal treatment. Jeffrey has been in a committed relationship with his partner, Grant Holmes, for over 35 years. Their relationship follows the church's guidelines by being celibate. Jeffrey has always been honest about his life, while respecting the church's rules. Janice Ian. Janice Ian is an American singer-songwriter known for her powerful lyrics and unique blend of folk and soft rock music. She was born on April 7, 1951, in Farmingdale, New Jersey. Growing up, she was surrounded by a socially conscious family and started showing musical talent at a young age. By her early teens, she was already playing the piano and guitar. At just 12, she wrote her first song, Hair of Spun Gold, which was published in a folk music journal. Janice got her big break when she was only 15 with her song, Society's Child, Baby I've Been Thinking. She actually wrote it when she was 13, and it talked about the challenges of an interracial relationship. The song was pretty controversial at the time, and not everyone liked it. Some venues even boycotted her shows, and she faced rude comments during performances. One time in California, people even yelled hurtful things at her while she was on stage. But Janice didn't give up and came back out to perform, realizing how powerful music could be in making people think differently. In 1975, Janice released another hit song called At 17, which talked about feeling left out and not fitting society's beauty standards. It was a huge success and won her a Grammy for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Janice kept making music with albums like Between the Lines and Breaking Silence, and became known for her honest storytelling. In her personal life, Janice came out as a lesbian in the mid-70s after being outed by a newspaper. She officially came out in 1993 when she released Breaking Silence. In 2003, she married Patricia Snyder, and they live in Nashville, Tennessee. Janice is also an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and uses her story to inspire others. Leslie Pilkington. Leslie Pilkington is a British psychotherapist who became known for her involvement in controversial practices related to sexual orientation. In 2009, she was approached by an undercover journalist named Patrick Strudwick, who pretended to be a client seeking help to change his sexual orientation. Leslie agreed to provide what she called conversion therapy in a Christian counseling setting. The idea behind this type of therapy was to try to change someone's orientation from gay to straight. The sessions were secretly recorded, and later on, they were made public, which led to a big controversy. In 2011, the British Association for Counselling and Psychotherapy, BACP, looked into her actions and found her guilty of professional misconduct. They said that her methods were not only unprofessional, but also potentially harmful. As a result, she faced the risk of being removed from the professional register. Leslie defended herself by saying that she was just helping the client based on what he asked for, and that her approach was part of her Christian beliefs. She felt that people should have the right to choose therapy that aligns with their personal values. Despite this, the whole situation sparked a lot of debate about whether conversion therapy is ethical or effective. Major health organizations like the American Psychological Association and the British Psychological Society have strongly criticized conversion therapy, saying it doesn't work and can actually hurt people. Many countries and states have banned it because of these concerns. While Leslie Pilkington's case brought a lot of attention to the topic, there's not much public information about her personal life or any work she's done to support LGBTQ+ inclusion. The focus has mostly been on the controversy and how it affected the counseling community. Julie Rogers. Julie Rogers is an American author, speaker, and advocate for LGBTQ inclusion within Christian communities. She grew up in Texas, surrounded by evangelical beliefs, which made it hard for her to accept her sexuality. At first, Julie thought that being celibate was the only way to live according to her faith as a gay Christian. For a long time, she even promoted celibacy, thinking it was what God wanted. But over time, Julie's views changed as she learned more and grew in her faith. Eventually, she came to believe that same-sex relationships could be a beautiful part of a faithful life. One major turning point for Julie was when she played a big role in the closure of Exodus International, the largest conversion therapy organization at the time. She saw firsthand how harmful conversion therapy was and wanted to help end it. Julie also appeared in the Netflix documentary Pray Away, which talks about the negative effects of trying to change someone's sexual orientation. In 2021, Julie published her memoir called Outlove, a queer Christian survival story. The book tells her journey of faith, self-acceptance, and how she learned to love herself without feeling like she had to change. Julie writes honestly about her struggles and how she found peace with who she is. Her articles have been published in major outlets like The New York Times and The Washington Post. 22. Rachel Held Evans. Rachel Held Evans was an American Christian author and blogger who became known for her progressive ideas about faith and inclusion. She was born on June 8, 1981 in Alabama and grew up in a conservative evangelical family. After studying English literature at Bryan College in Tennessee, Rachel began to question some of the traditional beliefs she was taught. Her writing explored topics like doubt, faith, and how to create a more welcoming church community. Rachel was never afraid to speak her mind, even when her ideas challenged the usual evangelical views. She believed that LGBTQ people should be fully accepted in the church and often wrote about how Christianity should focus more on love and justice than strict rules. Her books, like Faith Unraveled, A Year of Biblical Womanhood, and Searching for Sunday, talked about how faith could change and grow. She wanted people to feel comfortable asking questions and thinking deeply about their beliefs. Rachel's writing reached a lot of people, and she became a voice for those who felt left out by traditional church teachings. Sadly, Rachel passed away on May 4, 2019, at just 37 years old, after complications from an illness. 23. Rob Bell. Rob Bell is an American author, speaker, and former pastor who's known for thinking differently about Christianity. He was born on August 23, 1970, in Ingham County, Michigan. Growing up, Rob was pretty creative and even played in an alternative rock band while attending Wheaton College. Later, he got his Master of Divinity from Fuller Theological Seminary. In 1999, Rob founded Mars Hill Bible Church in Michigan, and it grew really fast under his leadership. People loved his fresh way of looking at faith, and his Numa video series became super popular. He also wrote some best-selling books like Velvet Elvis, Sex God, and Jesus Wants to Save Christians. His most controversial book, Love Wins, 2011, questioned traditional ideas about heaven and hell. Some people didn't like it, but others found it thought-provoking. The book got so much attention that Time magazine named Rob one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2011. 24. Matthew Vines. Matthew Vines is an American author, speaker, and LGBTQ activist who works hard to help the Christian community accept same-sex relationships. He was born and raised in Wichita, Kansas, in a conservative evangelical Presbyterian church. Matthew attended Harvard University from 2008 to 2010, but he took a break from college to focus on studying what the Bible really says about homosexuality. In March 2012, Matthew gave a powerful speech at College Hill United Methodist Church in Wichita. He argued that the Bible does not actually condemn loving, committed same-sex relationships. This talk, called The Gay Debate, The Bible and Homosexuality, was posted on YouTube and went viral. It got over 1 million views and made a big impact on how people think about faith and LGBTQ inclusion. Matthew didn't stop there. In 2014, he wrote a book called God and the Gay Christian, The Biblical Case in Support of Same-Sex Relationships. In the book, he carefully examines biblical texts and challenges the traditional belief that homosexuality is a sin. His main point is that it's possible to believe in the Bible while also supporting same-sex relationships. 25. Jen Hatmaker. Jen Hatmaker is an American author, speaker, and podcast host known for her progressive Christian views and support for LGBTQ inclusion. She was born on August 12, 1974 in Kansas and grew up in a religious family. Jen went to Oklahoma Baptist University and studied education before becoming an author and speaker. Jen has written several popular books that mix humor, personal stories, and spiritual ideas. Some of her best-known books include For the Love, Fighting for Grace in a World of Impossible Standards, and Fierce, Free and Full of Fire. The Guide to Being Glorious You. Both books became New York Times bestsellers because people connected with her honest and relatable style. In 2016, Jen publicly supported same-sex marriage and spoke out for the full inclusion of LGBTQ people in the church. This was a pretty bold move because a lot of people in the evangelical community didn't agree with her. Some organizations like Lifeway Christian Resources even stopped selling her books. Despite the pushback, Jen didn't change her stance. She believes that love and acceptance should always come first. If you enjoyed learning about these inspiring journeys, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening stories. Let us know in the comments which story surprised you the most. Story surprised you the most. Story surprised you the most.